All right, so please don't get upset when I say this, but I have a point. I want you to listen. Researchers have their head up their ass. And let me explain what's going on before you get really upset. Is we thought and we think that the only way that we can get messages out is through doing research. And I understand that there's a lot of credibility checks that happen along the way, but we're missing an enormous opportunity where much of the world is surpassing our ability to get the message out. And, one way to actually look at what we do is that we're simply just content creators. And yes, there is a lot of checks and balances that happen along the way, and there's lots of skepticism that happens to ensure that the message that you provide as a research paper is actually credible. I get that. And I know that there is a lot of incentives that are behind it, but I want you to start looking around and start questioning, is this the only way? There is a lot of people that are doing spectacularly well in all areas of our economy now, simply by getting the message out. And if we don't embrace this and we simply just say, wait a minute, my only job is to do research, you're missing out on such an opportunity. And frankly, I think that's where a lot of the problems come from with how society is actually looking at the world right now, is that the researchers are saying, it's not my job. I am not somebody that's supposed to say something in public, believe it or not. Um, and that should be out somebody else's job. And it's creating this weird thing where people are following just whacked out ideas that are not even close to even pseudoscience online. And it's because that there is no relationship with real people doing real science, looking at the world and questioning it. And part of the reason is that people look at it and they try it for a little bit and they realize it's really hard, right? Like in science in high school, you do it for a semester and you realize, man, this is brutally hard. I quit. I'm not going to do this ever again. And they don't know. There's no role models. There's no people out there that are actually saying, hey, you could do this. Go out and do it. The people that are doing, the of the few professors that I know that are active online, um, they're often and researchers, they're often not doing research anymore. Like they quit it because it was just like too hard, right? And they're doing other things. So there's nobody. It's such a gap right now where nobody is like leading people through and saying, hey, you could do this. It's bloody hard and it sucks. The whole thing sucks. But so does climbing a mountain. So does any other thing that is important in this world sucks. And you're going to face all sorts of craptacular things where people are mean to you and, that just, they don't treat you right, all those kind of things. But you can do this. And I think like this message needs to be heard, and we're missing out because we think we're too high and mighty. A lot of us think we're way too high and mighty to like talk to the common person. And it's true, right? Like the stereotype is partly true that we think we don't. And it really comes down to people believing that they don't have time, right? That they are not making time. They think that um, my life is too busy. And it comes down to my life is too busy. AKA I'm too important to talk and walk people through and encourage people to go and do scientific research, to encourage people to try it and to realize when it does not work out, when you spend a weekend doing it, that that's okay. That is the process. And you get up and you do it again, and it's miserable, and you want to you want to quit, right? Like there is an unbelievable amount of desire to often quit for almost all researchers, all scholars that exist. Right? They all want to quit. They all say like, this is stupid. I feel like that every day. But I get back up and I do it again anyways, every day. And I wish people could hear this message, because if they could hear this message and they understood that, yes, the game, right? Like, I think people so misunderstand what science actually is. They understand it's this big, it's a bunch of eggheads sitting around in some circle saying, this is the way the world is. Such a stupid way to view the world, by the way, because, and I'm going to call it as like stupid because if you were to do it, you would realize like, oh my gosh, no, it's a bunch of jerks yelling at each other in a polite way, saying that your idea sucks and it's terrible. And why did you even think about it in that way? And it's a bunch of really, and ultimately, it's really very, very skeptical people that are extremely, generally very, very smart. And they're trying to tear you apart. And if you view science in that way, is like, yeah, our job is actually to tear other people apart. And if there was an idea that was stupid, it would be kicked out, right? Like people would not want it. Like relatively stupid. I understand that some things stay for a long time. I get it. But the idea is you are an extremely competitive, skeptical arena where nobody believes anybody else and they all want to tear each other's ideas apart. They really truly do. Right? Like that's the name of the game. And the general audience, everybody, you guys, you folks, guys and gals, that if you don't understand that, if you don't see this because nobody is talking to you, that there is no connection with real people doing real things and real research, then you realize like, oh, you start to believe that stuff, right? But I go into work every day and it's a grind and it sucks. And, there's a desire, there's a culture to work all of the time. And I think that that is wrong. But there is this culture to work all the time because people are trying to outdo each other. And it's very difficult and challenging. Um, and if you don't hear that, A, you think you're crazy when you try to do it and it doesn't work out. B, you start believing people that are telling you that there's 6 easy steps to a wonderful life. And both of those messages are not true. It's brutally hard. You got to keep just going back in and going and working and trying and trying and trying over and over and over again, and realize when it doesn't work out, you are normal. You're right in the pocket. You're doing the right thing. And you get back up and you do it again, repeatedly. I wish you can hear this. I wish more people would understand this, because I think a lot of the problems that we experience today would disappear. And I wish, and the last thing is I wish researchers, as my grandfather said, get your head out of your ass. Start thinking that there is a lot of world out there and we need to actually start making these connections. And it's not as hard as you think it is. You just have to start believing that you can. And you have to start connecting with people, doing real things, being kind and generous with your time and effort. And yeah, it's going to take away from research. And yeah, it's going to slow things down, maybe. Or if not, you have the time if you want to. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.